Saturday morning, 6:30 a.m. Nelson Search and Rescue was called out for a boater in distress. They're searching for Piper Jade and her son Keegan. Piper, a single mother and recent arrival to Nelson, had taken her son out for a paddle in their new canoe the day before.
The initial information was a boater in distress. Historically, in that area, the Groman Narrows, there's an island there. Quite often, boaters have some distress and end up on the island. This is what we figured it would be. We got in the boat, we drove down the channels to the area. Didn't see anyone on the island. The fire department was across from the island on the highway and were telling us there was people in the cliff face.
This is the first mission for the team's new rescue boat. They'd spent 2 years and hundreds of volunteer hours fundraising and planning for the craft.
In our area, Kootenay Lake is a large body of water. Because it's long and narrow, and the winds come down from either end of the valley, it turns into the ocean out there. We wanted a craft that could respond on the lake in any kind of water, summer, storm, winter, day or night. So this particular boat was designed to have twin engines, completely independent right from the fuel cells. If something failed on a system, the other one was there to protect us. FLIR systems, forward-looking infrared, so we're driving at night, we can see if there's obstacles out there. All the normal communications, GPS, plotter, depth sounders, drop cameras for searching. We had just kind of gotten everything installed, figured out, got our protocols in place. Bang, first call right away.
They're right in front of your 12 o'clock position, right to the left of that fissure that runs up the hill of the rock bluff.
Yeah, you're gonna have to go downstream, come upstream. I don't see him yet though.
We know exactly where you mean.
Hello?
We drove right past the cliff face. Didn't see anyone, didn't hear anything. Turned around, came back by the area, got on the loudspeaker, asked whoever's there to call out.
Back upstream. Right there in the rocks, cliff face. It's gonna be a touch and go.
They spot Piper Jade and her son Keegan huddled precariously on a ledge above the swift-moving current. The team must maneuver the boat into position against the cliff face and hold it there under power in order to get them both safely into the craft.
How she managed to get her son up into that little fissure of rock and up onto that little plateau, 10 or 15 feet out of the water. I mean, that took some effort. They definitely wanted out of that cold water. Once we realized where they were, we had to maneuver the boat into a place where we could make it stable, pushing it against the rocks, holding position. Doing this procedure, putting that bow against that rock, did do a bit of damage, and we just polished the thing. It was brand new, so it was a bit of ouch, but critical time, gotta get it done. I jumped on the front of the boat, trying to get them to come down off the cliff. It was quite steep, they couldn't just jump in. They were very cold, the dexterity just wasn't there.
Put your bum right on that rock.
Young Keegan is visibly chilled to the bone after spending the night in his damp clothes.
I literally had to tell them where to place their feet. Put your foot in my hand, take my hand, step down, I'll grab you. Very cold, You spend a night out, wet, early in the spring, not much thermal protection. It's gonna affect you a great deal.
Get you warmed up.
Once they were in the boat, into the covered cab, blankets on them, giving them a big bear hug, getting that body heat going.
I just wanted to crawl right into him. He was so warm. He gave us each of both a hug, told the guy we got to go quickly, and then they called the ambulance, and I guess the ambulance was there waiting for us at the dock when we got there.
Search and rescue, Nelson saw her coming.
This rescue was a classic grab and go, uncomplicated and with a happy ending. But how did this story begin?
It was Saturday morning, beautiful, sunny, hot day. It was my day off. I had nothing to do. Keegan was sitting in front of the video games again, and I was feeling guilty because I had to clean my house, but I really didn't want to. And I thought, how am I going to get my kid off the video games? So then we just picked up this canoe a couple days earlier that we had tied down at the dog park because we couldn't pick it up to put it on our car. And I thought, oh, well, let's go canoeing, no problem. So we jumped on our bikes, went down and picked up the canoe and started paddling, just like that. I guess the plan was just maybe go around the beach a couple times, just stick around the shore and stuff like that. But we were having so much fun that we decided to go across the lake. And when we got there, it was this little cave, there was rocks, it looked like there was fossils and stuff like that. It was so cool.
They decide to continue downriver to Tagum, a 6.5 kilometer journey, going through the whirlpools and eddies of Groman Narrows in the process, without life jackets and with little canoeing experience.
And those little whirlpool things would spin us around every once in a while. But it's a beautiful, hot, sunny day outside. It's like doing donuts in the snow in the wintertime, you know, it's cool. So we continued all the way down to Tagum, made it there, played there for a while. And then I thought, well, it's getting dark now, so the responsible thing to do would be go back. So we just jumped back in and started paddling. And it was going great, again, up until, you know, halfway through.
They reach Groman Narrows again. This time, its powerful whirlpools are no longer fun.
We were like trying to make it so it wasn't gonna turn over, but that failed.
Before I knew it, we were in the water, bam.
And it almost felt like a hand was grabbed onto my ankle and was starting to tug.
I started getting pulled underneath the whirlpools, and I couldn't see Keegan anymore. He was getting pulled down as well, but for longer and longer.
And when I got up to the surface, I took in a deep breath, and then after I held it, but that didn't work.
I was so scared. I never felt more out of control in my life.
When I was going downstream, I was trying to catch on rocks, but my hands were wet and slippery, so that didn't help at all.
As I grabbed on some cliffs, I saw my son drifting away behind me, and he was not close enough to grab the cliff, so I had to grab him, give him my spot, and then I had to now continue down the river.
She was underwater, and I thought, will she come back up or not? But she got back up to the surface, and then she managed to get to the rocks.
Finally, I was able to grab onto something, and then pulling weeds in various crevices and whatnot, climb back to where he was.
I looked at the rocks and found, and it almost looked like a staircase up to the ledge, and so I went and I figured out how to get up.
And then we climbed 15 feet, like we rock climbed. We never rock climbed, but we rock climbed up there, and we sat there.
Huddled on the small ledge, it was the beginning of a long, cold night.
It was about 8:30 now at this time. I could see the cars on the road passing by, and there was nothing I could do. We were soaked, it was cold, it was dark, we were stuck there.
Me and my mom were cuddling up together. I was starting to breathe in my shirt, and then Mom copied, and then Mom was starting to feel heat.
He was shivering. I thought, oh, I'm the worst mother ever. I just felt so badly. I thought, I don't even deserve to be a mother.
Daylight comes, and with it, a lucky break. Across the water, Bill Restier arrives to start his morning shift at the City of Nelson Water Pollution Control Center.
I arrived here about 6:30 a.m. I just walked a few feet to the front door, and I thought I heard a noise, and I paused and listened, and I didn't hear anything again, so I went back and I honked the horn of my truck and took a look around. I wasn't sure if it was like an adolescent's voice or if it was a woman, but it was that long yelp drawn out that caught my attention.
Bill is joined by his co-worker Dom Castellano, who also hears the cries for help. After calling 911, they use binoculars to search for the source of the voice.
I finally spotted this very tiny person. She blended in with the few trees that were there and made it very, very difficult, but it was something pretty incredible that we could actually hear her from that distance as well.
Man, I was yelling, and the guy heard me. I thought, oh, thank God.
I'll honk the horn again. I tried that earlier.
Then I started looking upriver, and I told Keegan, I said, just hang on, they're coming, Keegan. And he didn't say anything. He was getting a lot quieter at the time, so I was getting a little bit worried, but trying not to show it. You know, you don't want to make the situation worse. Then I saw the boat coming around the corner, and oh, my tail was wagging. in, man. I was so happy. I'm like, oh, they're coming for us.
That time of year, there's not very many people out there walking dogs or down by the water. I mean, they could have gone through that whole day faced with a decision, you know. Does she leave her son there, swim downstream, try to get to shore, walk out, get help, or stay there, face another night? You know, critical decisions. She made the right one.
In the spring, it's extremely cold and fast down in there. The water is low. Without even realizing it, people are getting themselves into predicaments that they shouldn't, because they inexperienced, ill-equipped, and the water's moving and you're going with it, whether you like it or not.
You know, it's still early spring. Sunshine is out in the afternoon. People start to, you know, feel the spring sunshine. You know, they get those feelings, well, let's go for a canoe. It's nice and warm out there. They don't think about, you know, later on in the evening how cold it will get or how cold the water still is. Always be prepared. Things change. You don't have that thermal protection, the PFD. Suddenly what seemed innocent can become quite critical.